Hi, this is the third try really, for November 23rd. What we're going to be doing is I'm going to be showing you different kinds of readings. And these dear people volunteered to come here and everything was going along fine and they could hear me just fine. And my live feed would not pick up my audio. And tech support is upstairs, madly finishing out a very busy week in a short week. And he's taking care of international corporations. So I can't imagine why he didn't want to run right down here and fix me. So we'll get that worked out. What I did for each of these dear ladies, and I will explain who they are. Galaxies, that's Carol. No, that's Jane in disguise. She's hiding out as a Galaxy phone, a Galaxy computer. Then there's me, then there's Carol, and there's Jennifer and Kelly. And some of these people are readers, some of them aren't, some of them I have met before. I don't think I've met Jen before. Have I? I did.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Compass.
It's okay.
No, you got a lot going.
Okay, I do at this point, quite honestly, especially today. Okay. First thing we're going to do though is I did have a card pulled for today, and I always do that. So what I have is scolecite. And this is a beautiful crystal, and it actually forms in the hot hyperfluids that are in volcanic vents, and the minerals come in and they form and they grow like this, kind of like crystal salt things grow, but these grow in very, very hot temperatures. And it enhances the deep sacred space for meditation and relaxation, promotes inner peace and tranquility, supports you in an awakening of your inner wisdom, allows access to deeply held subconscious memories for transformation, and assists in the purification and illumination of the soul. And I've seen this, and they're absolutely gorgeous. They're incredibly fragile. This is not a crystal you're ever going to want to carry around in your pocket. Let me put it to you that way. And so with that, we're going to begin. Now, who goes first? What we've decided is two people are doing past lives. One is doing the next 6 months. And Cynthia never showed up. So doing two past lives, a 6 month. And what did you want to do, Jane?
I guess 6 months.
Okay, would be 6 months. Okay. And I'll tell you the deal about the 6 month thing, and I'm going to cut to my board where I read. The thing about 6 months is at the end of the year, in December and January, I do a special. It's the only time of the year that I do it. And I read your 12-month reading, and it's a longer reading. It's more comprehensive. And I started doing them at a New Year's party 5 years ago, and it's proven to be very, very successful. So we're going to start with the two 6 month readings, and then we're going to go into past lives. Let's deal with right now. So we're going to start with Carol.
Okay.
And her 6 month reading. So, and I'm going to cut over to where y'all can see what I'm looking at. Yeah, the fun part.
Now I thought you were going to do past life with me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't mean Carol. I mean Jane.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Jane, I'm doing 6 months with Jane. Am I doing 6 months with Jane?
Yes.
Okay, that's fine. Guys, it's hard enough when I'm doing one person. So what we're going to do is we'll start. What I normally do is it starts in January. Is that okay, Jane? I can start you.
That's fine. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
But I get very confused. That's one reason why I only do these during the end of the year, because it's too hard to lay them out. When I start in June, I'm like going, what month am I in? Okay. January, February, March, April, May. And I'm going to move these down so you can see them. Okay. And then on each of these months, I put a clarifier.
Okay.
So This is my favorite little deck. It's almost fairy tale looking compared to the other decks I use. And I've had it for a bazillion years. I used to read with it in the 70s. It's called the Hanson Robert deck.
Oh, yeah.
You can see it's been pretty chewed up.
Yeah.
Carrying around in a bag now so that I don't lose them. So January. Ooh, you got the King of Ariel. That's the King of Coins. That means that financial thing you and I were talking about getting settled, some of that's going to get settled for you. It said your plans are working out well. Professional and financial success, using your resources wisely. And you've just gone through a lot of relocations. So you're where a lot of people are at the end of COVID when they finally said, well, I'm going over here now.
Yeah.
And what you've had is, on top of it, you have the King of Cups. And this, he would modify this by saying there's been a lot of expectations and false expectations. So in January, when this hits, you just have to kind of turn him around and say, yes, this is really happening.
Okay.
Because you've had so many disappointments and things change and you're like, is this right? And I don't blame you for feeling, I mean, I really think every spirit except those who graciously live on 5D have a lot of changes they've had to go through. And so it's like one more change. No, I don't want one more change. So that's your January. Your February. Oh, now you're into it, girl. This is you sitting in the cafe, enjoying your money and having a good time. And
All right.
that really reads, there's so very much to be grateful for. This is your February. Financial success
Wow.
and promise for retirement have come through. It's a rich and rewarding family life. And I think it's because you're starting to make more friends and get
Okay.
together with more people
Okay.
instead of feeling so isolated. And that may come from the change of these other situations. So that's February. Now, March. Okay. Good. March is the Ten of Michael. That would be the Ten of Swords and any other thing. And I think this is a much better illustration of the Ten of Swords. Bowing out gracefully, I think that's when you're going to let go of a lot of the few things you've hung on to and kept thinking maybe this is going to go there. You're going to be done with it. You're going to realize which situations have ended and you are finally free. New opportunities for happiness will now follow. Put all the past behind you. And so by March, you're going to feel free and you're going to feel like I've made the move. Your mind's going to be clear about what to do because your modifier is the Knight of Swords. And he always brings in clear thinking along with sudden movement he can do. Okay. April. Oh, wow. What fun. Okay. April is wonderful. It's the Six of Wands. And in the traditional deck, that's the guy that's riding through the city with everybody cheering him on.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
In this one, it's congratulations. You've done a wonderful job. Time to move on. So I think what you're building here in January, there's going to be a change in it in April. Moving on to the next project, awards, scholarships, and promotions, and more money.
Wow.
And really feeling happy about it. Because you've got some tens, you got 3 10s here, which means this 6 months is going to be a whole lot of endings and a lot of new beginnings for you. And then comes to May.
Yeah.
Okay. And you got the 3 of Michael. And you're still releasing the past. You have to grow from this situation. There's going to be some still things hanging on from all the moves and all the changes, but you can get whatever you want. You got the 9 of Cups. So in
All right.
May, when you're finally letting go of the last of it and realizing you don't, letting go of the last of that pain, you can move forward to where you want to go. So this is definitely a time when you are moving. You've got 1, 2, 3 10s out of 10 cards. That's 30% of what's going on around you. Is just get used to change. And then you've got great things. And 3s, if you don't know the numerology of 3s normally mean building a new foundation, not just one-on-one with someone, but with a group.
Oh, okay.
So I see you reaching out, finding new groups of people to be with, finding new ways to be. Don't cut you. I mean, when you finally get to May and you're like, I'm exhausted with letting stuff go, continue to let things go because they need to go away. But May is going to be the month where you can write your own bill. When that's, boy, if there's any big moons or anything, that would be the month to write your list of intentions.
Oh, okay.
So you have any questions about those?
No. No, but yeah, it's so much releasing. It's
You get tired of it. You're like, you know, and
Yeah.
it's hard to see the things that are filling in those sort of gaps inside yourself.
right. It's about forgiveness too, you know.
Yes. Well, that's part of releasing. And it is Thanksgiving. By the time people see this, I'll have a big happy Thanksgiving thing posted. But you know, developing an attitude of gratitude is the fastest way you can move forward with this.
Okay. Yeah.
Now we're going to do, from this time and this lifetime, we're going to go into past lifetimes. And my two people for that, you want to go first, Carol?
That's fine.
Okay. Get the cards, you get the pendulums, you get everything.
Yay.
Pendulum tells me whether you're male or female in this past life. Okay. And we can do the long past life because I have the camera to show it.
Awesome.
So. Did I push recording on this computer?
Yes.
Okay, good. I always get to this point in the reading, go, did I push recording? The first thing I use in a past life is a reading. When I would do past lives on the table, when I would out reading in public, this is a reading I would do. And it's called a Spirit 7. And these three cards represent the past life. And these three cards represent the current life. And the card in the middle is the one that shows kind of the next step forward in this life in dealing with all this. So in the past life, you're a monk.
Oh,
You left the real world and went off and hid out. But you were a very powerful spiritual person. And you were doing it in a time when that was a good place to be because you couldn't build up. You were a very, very, very spiritual person in that life. So, and you were really successful at it. And that's what's frustrating you in this life now, because in this life, you haven't been able to find the kind of balance you were able to find in that life. And you're a very direct person, and things have fallen apart for you, and you keep them going when you really shouldn't. You should let the tower fall. That's kind of where you are in your life right now. And this has to do with surrounding a person who is pivotal in your life. And if you make some of the spiritual changes you feel you need to make, you feel like you're going to be disappointing this person. Now, I will tell you, this person could also be you because it's the same suit as you came in here. It could be you don't feel like you've done enough. You don't feel like you've handled it well enough. You don't feel like, you're out there being aggressive. And yet you have this past life pulling on you saying you don't have to, you can win without being that way. Does that make sense to you?
Oh yeah, I'm welling up with emotion about it. Yeah.
Okay. We're going to find out if you were male or female in that life. Now, females for me usually run this way. Males usually run this way. So we're going to start out. Okay, is the dowsing, is the pendulum going to work as it usually does? That's a yes for me. Up and down my arm is a yes. Okay, so. Which sex was Carol in this past life? I can tell you where it's going. It's going male. And I did see a monk. So
yeah, that That feels correct.
Okay, so, okay, now I'm going to put a clarifier on imbalances. Choose imbalances. This is the imbalance card, and what I came across is you've let a lot of people into this life that have kept you imbalanced. They're stopping you from dealing from your higher power, which he had a very firm hold of, a very strong spiritual base, but you're beginning to learn what you need to do. So the next part of a past life reading is we're going to read his life, how he ended up being where he was, and how it can affect you.
Okay.
This is one of my most complicated readings, guys. It really is. There. That's a one. I love this deck. It's the only thing I use this deck for is past life readings. Although it's a fun deck, it's got some wonderful illustrations to explain the cards to you. They're also very stiff cards, so you have to shuffle them that way. Carol, have you ever visited an Asian monastery?
Yeah, I've never been to Asian country. So I guess no.
Okay.
I would love to.
I'm going to put 4 rows out and I read them across. And then when I get to this card, it tells me what the next line is about. I learned to do this, but may have to overlap them. That'll work. New working surface, guys. Patience, patience. Okay. Okay. Okay, this is the first part. And this, you have justice. And these cards have meanings. This is the root end. This is the beginning of the question. This is where you personally sit. This is what helps or hurts you. And this is the next step.
Okay.
And what I see is you have justice here. And what I'm seeing in my mind is you've been a monk a couple times, and I'm trying to figure out which one of them you are now. That's one too many cards. Okay. We'll read that when we get there. You went into the monastery to please your mother and also your father. And I think you may have been, I'm getting like medieval monk, where you were like the second or third son, and that was the best place to stick you. And
Yep.
you immediately loved the community. You came from a very secure family, and they brought you into a really good monastery, into a really good place of learning. And you thrived there. You dealt well with the people there. It all worked out great for you. You were able to grow and develop and become the full person you wanted to be. And then the next one's another great thing. You got the 10 of coins, 10 of discs. So this is like, you couldn't get a sunshinier life. You went ahead and did what your parents wanted you to do. You went into the community. You didn't really have many questions about it. It was like, yeah, I'm spiritual. That's what I want to do. It was a world that you could live with. Oh. And And then King Henry VIII decided to dissolve the monasteries.
Yeah.
So you kind of got kicked out of your safe little place, and you had to deal with the real outer world in a way you hadn't expected it. But you were really good. I think you were a healer, and you're really good at the people you worked with. And so the people in the villages around you, or the cities around you, took you in and let you become like their priestly apothecary. But it caused you problems, real problems with local authorities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But eventually you found a place where you could feel safe and secure again, 3 of Cups. But then these 2 cards came out together, and this is fascinating because I didn't realize they were together when I put the cards out. You ended up imprisoned.
Okay.
But the people who loved you bailed you out
Wow.
and brought you back into the sun.
Wow.
So you were able to move on with your life. And because this imprisonment, he got out. I mean, the fighting with them, he thought he was away. He didn't get away. So, but then you ended up with the sun. You've got the sun in the world. I mean, this guy considering he had kind of a crazy life, he had a really good life. And it's the success of this life, the success that this placed in your soul has always been seeking another place where you could be that safe. But I'm going to tell you what freaks you out now is this. If I really take care of myself, am I going to locked up and be imprisoned?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to accept the risk of that being there for you to move on in this life. That's why you're the Queen of Swords can't, because we all have a bit of the Queen in us, we all have a bit of the King in us, we all have a bit of the Page in us, and we all have a bit of the Knight in us. And in your case, you're kind of waiting, because when he asserted himself and he went out and he was successful again, still got beat up and got thrown in prison for a while, but he came out successfully. His friends got him out, and he came out and he was successful. You don't have the confidence from that soul's journey.
Yeah.
You remember this. You don't remember this.
Yeah.
So you need to meditate on the successes he had, because you got to admit, if you spent your whole life singing and praying and doing what you're supposed to do and creating all the great herbs and healing everybody, and all of a sudden the world turns around on you and says, guess what? We're putting you in prison anyway, because the king wants to marry somebody else,
Yeah.
I also wanted the money of the monasteries. That was a political thing.
Of course. No, I've had a lot of times in this life where I have gone up against employers, insurance companies, battled those things, and I have lost.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me, I'm very reticent about doing it. And now I'm retired, and so it's like I'm not in that battle anymore.
Well, what you need to open your spirit up to is the ray of light from all of the support he got. That's where you're going to find your salvation in this. That's where I see he, eventually when he could learn to trust again and not just rely always on others coming in, it would work better.
Okay, that's good.
Okay, does that kind of maybe make sense with some of the hesitancy you've been feeling?
Yeah, I do feel like when I do feel like the persecuted martyr. Like every time I've done really good things, something bad's happened.
Well, he was out healing people. He was out doing what he was supposed to be doing. And sometimes the world works against us.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
I know. Well, that was wonderful. Thank you.
Okay. And Jennifer, okay. Do I need to do your 6 months? No, I did your 6 months. I need to do Jane's 6 months.
No, you did James.
Okay, I'm doing Jennifer's. I knew. I promise you guys. I mean, I'm just not used to doing 7 people at once. I hate to tell you. Okay, we're going to skip now into time frame of this life right now. January, February, March, April, May. Oh, I only did 5 before. Okay, wait a minute. That is 6. No, I did June. Oops. Okay. I hope you guys are getting to watch my dailies that I'm doing with the Jeffrey Wright color. They go up at 9 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Eastern, 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central, every day. It's been great fun reading with him and seeing how what I see matches up with what someone else sees. We got some really interesting times coming up here, guys. Okay, are you ready for January? The Wheel of Fortune's all changing for you. The wheel's moving around, and it's a really good thing to happen. And you're going to get money, but not as much as you want because it was reversed on the card. There's an offer that's going to come to you and you're going to go, but that's not as much as I wanted. But you're going to have to evaluate it, decide if it's what you really want to go ahead and do. Okay. And then
Okay.
February. Are you going back to school?
I wasn't planning on it.
Okay. Well, no, this shows you in school. You have excellent opportunities being offered to you. And it's going to be a dark-haired man who is in a position of power who can help you with this. It can be a professor. Anyway, it's going to be a really important month for you to form the foundations for where you're moving forward from.
Okay.
March. Oh, okay. Someone in your family could have a health problem, so you need to watch out for that in March. This is going back to Hearth and Home, or it could be people that are close to you. I hope everyone around you is vaccinated because this is
Yes. Yeah, except for the 5-year-old, I think yes.
okay. Well, I don't think this is a 5-year-old. What I think this is someone in your family's going to have a disappointment. I don't see this card as death ever. I just see it as more of a health problem. They just need to get around, and I think they can get past it. I'm going to put a clarifier on that. I don't think it's you. No, it's something coming from something unexpected, but they're going to get help. It'll be whoever it is, it's going to be fine. They're going to get the health care they need.
Okay.
April. Oh, you're going to be coming more into your own in the month of April. And this is when you give, you also receive, being resistant to change. And you can learn how to spread your money well. But that's the balance card with money. It's the little guy with the 4 of coins all scrunched up, holding on to him too hard. But you have a generous heart, so you're not going to get caught up in that mess. May. Oh, okay. By May, you're picking what you want to do. Are you finishing school in May?
No, I've been working. I mean, I've been contemplating making changes with work, but
Okay.
I haven't.
Whatever you're doing by May, you can have whatever you want. That's the 9 of Cups. That's the wishing list.
Okay.
Make a wish, dreams come true, a joyful time in your life. You're gonna have a wonderful time. And the Queen of Pentacles, she pulls in money and she pulls in real time and real things. And June, yeah, it's going to all change in May because you get new beginnings, completely new beginnings. And actually, he kind of looks like you.
With my shortened hair.
Yeah, this is fine. I mean, but I mean, really, the eyes and the nose, it really is uncannily looks like you. Starting a new life, finding your purpose, forgiving, compassionate review of the past. And that's new beginnings. That's the Judgment card, but it's when all new things start. So what I'm going to say is You're going to get an offer in January. It's not going to be the one you want, but it's going to get you kind of where you need to go. So it's kind of accept that. And then in February, this gentleman's going to come in and he's going to be through your, if your education relates to your work environment, it's going to be through your work environment. If it's just education, he's going to lead you into a new field or say, hey, come over here, work on this project. It's going to open up your eyes. What's going to mess up March is the thing with the family, but I can tell you that they totally recover. And it's really something, I don't know if you can look kind of around in your family tree. Somebody has something they should get treated and they are not getting it treated. That's why it's going to blow up in March.
Well, my niece, she just got diagnosed with something, and we're trying to get doctors to help because she needs knowledgeable doctors.
Right.
So I'm thinking, I don't
That
know.
might be it. Yeah. But you're going to come out of it great because by all I can tell you is by June, you're happy as a clam. You're going to be more reserved, but you're going to get more psychic and more into yourself. And April, May is a great month. It's like make your wish list. You're going to have options. You're going to have all kinds of options. And you're going to get to decide, am I going to be the one who makes all this happen? In the tarot, the pentacles or the discs, depending on which deck you're looking at, that's the only suit that's actually materially in this world. So when you're talking about pentacles, you're talking about things that are materialistically in this world. And there you go, all kinds of new beginnings. And the Page of Swords is the person that's out there announcing the messages and bringing it forward. So you're going to be in control and in charge. You're not going to be the boss, but you're going to be there. You're going to be doing really well. So you got a great reading. I mean, except for March. But maybe in March, they actually finally figure out what it, get all the people lined up right.
Yes. Yeah, I got to work on that.
Yep. But you got the wheel, education, this being tied to family in March. April is, where do I want to put my priorities? What do I want to do? And by May and June, you've kind of melded that through your psyche and you can just move forward. So it's a good 6 months. So now, Kelly, dun, 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 dun. Let's see what's in your past life. We're going to start with.
One can only imagine.
I tell you what, I had a friend who did the whole regression thing where they hypnotize you and take you back.
Right?
And she died in childbirth, and the only person with her was her maid. She was forced to be married to an older man in Georgian England to bail out her father's business. It's just a horrible story. Anyway, she died in childbirth, and as soon as they knew the baby died, they kind of walked out and left her to die in the room. And the only person with her at the end was her maid. And the therapist said, "Who is the maid?" And she goes, "Oh my God, it's Nancy." And the weird thing is, she and I ended up in high-risk pregnancies at the same time and ended up in the same hospital room and kept each other together. So both our babies survived.
Wow.
Gosh, you just
Wow,
gave me
that's
total
a great
goosebumps.
story. Whoa.
And I've got the tape of it too. I mean, I've heard the tape when she says, "Oh my God, it's Nancy." And she said, "You know her in this life." She said, "You've been supporting each other for generations."
Oh, how very great is that?
I know, that's totally awesome.
Kelly to have an incredibly enlightening past life. Oh. Woo. When you start out with the tower, what can I say? This is the past life and this is the current life. But you're finishing out a lot of stuff. No wonder you feel so much pressure. You got 2 10s on here. 10s always mean we're at the end of cycles. And in that past life, you walked away from a lot of situations that you didn't like. It was you just cut and run. You never stayed and faced it. And therefore you felt like you lived a happy life. Like at the end of that life, till you went and got your life review, you thought, ha, 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 I got away with it. No, you
Well, that
didn't.
certainly explains all my anxiety,
No, you
or
didn't.
like my fears. I'm saying that I have presently if I walked away and wasn't ever responsible or accountable.
Right. So now seeking accountability, because in this life, yeah, you picked a life with a lot of tower moments, with a lot of big changes.
Yay me.
And your goal in this life is to build a strong wall and to build a good foundation for yourself. And this card, right side up or upside down, I read it as right side up. So you've done it somewhat through family, and you've stayed with it even when your family made you want to do that. They made you want to cut and run. You stayed in there. But the problem is where you are right now is you are putting the pieces together. You see, he's got all the things he needs to build that wall. He just doesn't know how to put them together yet. So you're still working on that. Now I'm going to see if you're male or female in this past life. I have a feeling I know.
If you ever see me put together IKEA furniture, that's exactly what I look like, that hard.
Yeah, I know. And just imagine if you're doing that spiritually. Okay. What sex was Kelly in this past life? And reveal to me more. Yeah, that's what I definitely have. You were a woman.
Mhm.
What do you think about gin? Like the liquor?
Oh my God, Nancy Jean, honestly, you just about gave me a heart attack. I thought you said Jim. That was my stepfather's name, and you just totally
No,
freaked
no,
me
no, no.
out. I don't drink
Gin.
alcohol.
Okay. Have you ever had alcohol? Or you just did it when
I
you were
mean,
young?
I was basically forced to take a sip at my wedding. So
Okay, fine. Okay, fine. Then you were a woman in a very difficult time. You were a woman in Victorian England,
I knew it.
in London, in the workhouses.
Yep.
And you ended up in desperate straits, but you were so drunk. That's what all the cups being upside down about.
I love it.
So drunk, you thought you were getting along with everything just fine. So we're going to look at what was her life.
You know, I've always said that I felt attached to, I mean, I read all kinds of historical books about Victorian England, and I mean, my happy place is the Jane Austen movie on repeat for, a whole weekend.
You'd have been a lot
I
happier in that time if you'd been in a Jane Austen movie. You were on the other
Right.
end of that movie.
I was working for Jane Austen is what I was doing.
Yeah. You were lucky if you were working for her. You were scullery and less. I mean, that's why I could just, when I was looking at it, I just had this overwhelming. I do unfortunately know what gin tastes like. But I had that really rough gin that people used to bring to parties thinking it was vodka, and it would make it smell like paint thinner.
Oh,
Ooh.
gross.
Yeah, I know, it's gross.
It also might explain why I have,
An aversion to alcohol.
why I have an aversion to cleaning.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean. Okay,
Oh,
that's your first round. Yippers. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna lay them out each row, and then we're gonna be a mystery, and we'll know at the end. You came out of an agricultural community, but things happened there, and you would have gotten trapped there. And I don't know if you ran away from marrying someone, but you managed, when you hit the city, you managed to make some money for yourself. So you thought, woo, this is the way to go. So now we're
I
living
can
in
only
London.
imagine how I did
We're
that.
living
Good
large in
grief.
charge, and we're in London. Oh, we're not so large and in charge now. Okay, you were large and in charge, and you were partying, and you're having a good time. And the next thing you know, you're fighting the world, because it's a much rougher place than you thought. So you come to some people and say, I just want to learn. Can you teach me? They took you in. They offered you opportunities. This is lovers to move forward and go forward. And there was a woman there who kind of promised you the world. I have a feeling I know where this one's going next. Oh, yeah. Oops. She taught you how to be a thief.
Oh,
She taught you how to be a hooker and a
Awesome.
thief. And you see, you're contemplating stealing what's left. How much more can I get away with? You always push the edges. And it led to a real change in your heart. And you saw there was a completely new way you could have gone, but you were denied it. You couldn't get there. You ended up in the 5 of Wands, mock fights with people all the time. So what happens? What are we doing here towards the end? Jail. This one. Okay. I think we're going to go back to the death card here. I think it was physical death. I think you went back and you looked at your life and you reevaluated it and you realized that you'd made so many bad choices. So in this life, you came in and tried to align with strong figures because you felt like everyone had abandoned you back here.
That's the
And
magic word right there, abandonment.
abandoned. And so you went, this life you came in looking for someone like, you thought the King of Swords, he makes good decisions. He's not squishy like these other people I trusted. And they're not, but they cut to the chase and they can be very hard. They can be very cruel. They can also be very insightful. And so they're kind of compelling figures that way. All you wanted was to love somebody.
Mhm.
And the answer to that, the answer to loving somebody is to become your own self. Master your own powers. Realize what you really have, because you can make it out in this life. Remember how many 10s you had before when we were looking at that life? There's choices you made in that life that cut you off from getting that end. But this one, you've got the 9 of Cups, and this is in this life. I'm going to see. You see. Yep. Yep. You can, that's how you can get to the 9 of Clubs. It's not to let the Tower moments in to tear you down. Go with them, understand them, work with them. Not to ever go back to that disparate life you led before. Remember, we had the 9 of Cups. And to always be seek justice, but maybe not your justice. Just let justice fall where it can.
Right.
Instead of pushing it.
That explains so many things and confirms so many things.
There's another way I can read these for you, is where to begin. Begin by understanding and willing yourself the best. Okay, there it is. Okay. I just have cards sticking together today. Don't get caught up in false fights. Don't ever steal. And use that insightful part of your mind. Don't be afraid of it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what strengths you have. You can contain yourself. You can control yourself to not be stolen. You've got a bright and inquisitive minds. You are very good at cutting people off when you need to, ultimately, at the end. And you have a loving heart.
I do wear my heart on my sleeve.
Okay, don't always measure everything by dollars. Work hard with the people who you can trust and get along with. Pick goals for yourself and be the magician for yourself. And the conclusion would be, it's the other way to read this kind of reading, is you can get along with people. You can find your spiritual self, because I think you are the Queen of Cups at the end of the day. Avoid fights in your own brain.
Mm-hmm.
And always put out in front of yourself the best wishes and filling it with the best intentions. So that's how those two lives go together.
That was awesome. Thank you so much.
I hope that helps. We
have no idea.
Okay. Well,
Amazing.
okay. For the people who are watching this, these are the kinds of readings that I do. They're kind of hard to explain. You can look at them, and I know People do different sorts of past life readings. I've actually been hired by other people who offer classes to teach that, because I don't know why people missed it. I didn't find it in a book. I found the Spirit 7 and I knew that was a really good way. Actually, I found Spirit 7 when I was between marriages and I wanted to figure out who people were. You lay that sucker down. There's no place to hide. So those are kind of readings. I'm offering special readings. The 6-month readings I did here were really, really quick. When I do a 12-month reading with someone, we look at the months that pop up as being exceptional or different, and we kind of look at how all that lays together. So I want to super thank everyone who showed up here today. I want to thank the people who showed up and when it should have been up at the right time and it ended up going up at the wrong time. I'm going to start keto shows again on 12/2/21, which is a week from this Thursday. Hints and tricks to make it through Thanksgiving if you're trying to diet. If you can control your food, make your own food at home. If you can, if you're going out and you want to be social, you want to be with people, ask the host or hostess if you can bring a dish and then bring something you can eat. You know, like if they're going to have mashed potatoes with their turkey, you make mashed cauliflower mash, which I actually have gotten to like better than mashed potatoes. But, you know, or find other things or eat a lot of hors d'oeuvres. There's a lot of hors d'oeuvres that are very low carb as long as they don't have wheat and cracker on them. Deviled eggs, cheeses, olives, shrimp cocktails are really good. And load up on those and then say, oh my God, I weigh 8 beyond my limit. And then just grab a piece of turkey so you're not offending their cooking. And the other option is if grandma's going to hold it out against you for the rest of your life that you didn't eat her sweet potato pie, have a scoop of it. And just if you've not been doing keto very long, it'll be an interesting trip into how your body used to feel. Most of us who've skipped out on keto and then come back, we came back because we didn't like the inflammation, we didn't like the arthritis, we didn't like the other things that not eating properly leads to. So that's kind of my total wisdom and inspiration. Actually, I'm having standing rib roast because my son won't be here Christmas and he couldn't do without his roast. So we're doing his roast at Christmas, his Christmas roast here. I have no idea what I'm doing on Christmas, but I'm probably not doing turkey. Anyway, thank you all for coming. And
Thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here.
And I will do this again. Also, the 6th of December is my anniversary date for having been on YouTube for a year. And I'm working on what I'm going to do for that. Yay. And if you go to my website, www.crystaldirections.com, the gardens are on sale and there's a couple of other goodies hiding out there. So, and remember, if you want to give someone a grid for Christmas, you cannot call me on the 24th. It will not happen. Anyway, thank you all for being here. Have a happy Thanksgiving and love and blessings to everyone.
Blessings.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy.